One inspirational woman who loves sports to the next inspirational woman who loves sports. And I want to tell you now about, what they say, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But what about a marathon a day? Well, I'm not sure I can say I would want to do that or would do that, but someone in Australia has done just that. And for 150 days straight, no less, 32-year-old marathon runner Erchana Murray Bartlett has finally finished her 6,300-kilometre journey on foot from the northern tip of Australia to the country's southern edge. Her effort sets a new world record for the most consecutive daily marathons by a woman. And it is my great pleasure to have world record holder Erchana joining us now from Melbourne, where she's been doing a series of interviews for different media outlets. And it's wonderful to have her on our outlet. Thank you so much for sparing the time. First of all, congratulations. I mean, this is just such an amazing accomplishment. It's not every day that we see something like this. I've got to ask, because I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, what made you decide to do this?
Well, hello. Yes, I am actually sitting here from one story to the next at the Australian Open and not running for the first day. For the first day in 150 days. I did start back in August 20 at Cape York, and I was very inspired to run this because here in Australia, we unfortunately have a biodiversity loss crisis. So we are world leaders in biodiversity loss. Our deforestation rates are up there with the Amazon. And unfortunately, we have almost 2,000 native species, plants and animals, that are endangered or on the endangered list. And I grew up running through these places. I grew up running through parks and mountains, and I thought it would be a really good idea back then to counteract a good world record with a bad world record, and that's where Tip to Toe was born.
That is a great way to address something that, as you say, is worrying so many people. But it also involves a lot of discipline, a lot of dedication. Just talk us through how you prepare for something like this.
I have a background in running. I was a road marathon runner prior to Tip to Toe, so I had a lot of endurance in the legs. Where I actually had to change it up was to be strong and healthy. I always figured that I would get almost fit as I was running. So I instead, rather than getting too fit and wearing myself out before I started, I actually put on a little bit of buffer weight. I went to the gym. I focused on getting strong rather than fit. I knew the fitness would come as I ran. And that's what I did. And I got through it yesterday, so it must have worked. It was hard to bounce ideas off other runners. There's not that many people that have done what I did, and it's all very much trial and error since the start.
Yeah, we're just looking at images of some of the scenes that you may well have passed by when you were running. What goes through your mind when you're out on one of those extended epic marathon runs?
There's definitely been some very tough days. There's been days that are so hot and you're out there all on your own and you can't see the finish line and you think, why am I doing this? And during those moments, I think to my why, and my why is, raising money for my partner charity, the Wilderness Society, raising awareness about the extinction crisis, and my own personal accomplishment of breaking the Guinness World Record. So I had a lot of big reasons to keep on running, and I kept thinking back to that feeling of finally crossing that finish line and how good it would feel, and it definitely got me up. Another big thing that I did was I reached out to a lot of people in Australia and said, hey, I'm running through your town, please come run with me, keep me company. And I had up to 30, 40, 50 runners in some instances run with me, so I'm very grateful for the support.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear. The fact that, people were out and giving you the best support that they can. You certainly deserve it. But in those moments when, as you talk about, you went through some tough days, and I can imagine lots of points where you thought, I'm just going to give up. What keeps you going? What keeps the sort of drive and dedication and commitment going?
For me personally, it was not wanting to fail. It was very much, I know I can do this. I would ask myself, is now the reason you want to stop? Is this your moment to pull out? And even though sometimes you were covered in sweat and flies and everything ached, I thought, no, I can go 1 more K, or no, I can go 500 more meters. And, if you keep stringing together little tiny goals, almost break them down into steps by steps, you can make it. And at the end of every marathon, I would always say, look, no matter how hard it was, you got through it. And then I would take that mentality into the next day. And I definitely worked. It doesn't say it wasn't hard, but I've learned so much mental resilience from tip to toe that it's going to make me an absolutely stronger person going into the future.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as you put it, just sort of making it day to day and telling yourself, I did it today, so I can do it tomorrow. And I have to ask, you know, how are you celebrating and what are you going to do next?
We celebrated last night at the Botanical Gardens in Melbourne. I had a large amount of friends and family from all over the world fly in and a lot of community here. I had one wine, that was enough for me. Today, I am here at the Australian Open. I might watch some tennis and support some other athletes. So that's my goal today. And then have a big break and think about what's next. I haven't actually had a chance to think yet, and that's okay.
A big break and a big breakfast, I hope. You certainly deserve it. Enjoy the tennis. It's been such a delight to have you on the programme. Erchana, thanks so much for joining us.